This video shows the text comparison feature for tabular data that comes from Excel. In the beginning, I am showing the comparison of the files used while developing the tabular comparison feature. In order to test the logic for a different file, I choose to export the output of SP whose stored procedure to CSV file and convert it as Excel file and create a copy of it with some modifications in order to check the code. To my surprise, although I was expecting it, somehow the comparison result yields strange results. By strange results, I mean the fact that I was expecting to see all the content of the Excel file and not only a subset of the input data, which was not what I was expecting. This took me by surprise and changed totally the way I was planning to end this presentation of the feature. If you want to see where the issue was and how it can be fixed, you can watch the entire video. Upon closer look, after modifying the Excel file, comparing it again and again, changing cells values to give me time to think to the code, and where the problem might be, the answer came by itself once in one of the comparison loops. I noticed that the input data was not recognized as tabular. That was the moment I realized the fact that in PowerShell I am not dealing with empty cells, and not adding a tab character for those will affect the tabular identification code, and also the building of the data table which I am using to display in the data grid. Once the reason for strange output was identified, I modified the Excel file and provide a value for all the empty cells in order for the other parts of the code to work as expected. Later in the video, I am showing how, based on ChatGPT provided code, I am deciding if the input text is in tabular format or not. You can see that identification of the input data being in tabular format is not bulletproof for the time being, and it depends on the quality of the parsing of the Excel file and constructing its text version of it. The identification takes some lines and check the number of tabs for some lines, and if I have the same number of tab, then it's tabular data. Since modifying and fixing the PowerShell script would take longer than modifying the Excel file in a way that will be properly recognized as tabular data, I decided to modify the Excel files containing the output of SP, who would provide a value for the columns which were empty. Doing so resulted in the code written for identifying if input is tabular to work properly, and once the comparison is initiated, we could see the files displayed in a data grid and not in a rich text box. Next, I need to save the modifications I make either in the rich text boxes or the data grids in order to be displayed next time I am choosing the same file or object, and once that is working, to save the final output whether to disk or submit an alter code in case the object we compare is a SQL Server metadata object.